A very good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Beetv News Updates at 3. I am Ruth Ogbodo and now the news in detail. Vice President Kashim Shettima on Friday assured the residents of Borno State and Nigeria's nationwide that the federal government remains resolute in its constitutional duty to protect lives and property following Wednesday's bomb explosion at Gamboru Market in Maiduguri. Vice President Shettima gave the assurance during a visit to survivors receiving treatment at the Muhammadu Buhari Trauma Center, where he conveyed the sympathy of Bola Tinubu and the federal government to the victims and their families. Describing the attack as senseless and heartbreaking, the Vice President reaffirms government's determination to end insecurity in Borno State and across the country.
Speaking at the Muhammadu Buhari Trauma Center of the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, where victims of the attack were receiving treatment, Vice President Shettima conveyed President Bola Tinubu's sympathy and reaffirmed the government's determination to end insecurity in the state. The Vice President, who was accompanied by Governor Zulum, consoled the victims and reiterated the Bola Tinubu administration's commitment to ending terrorism and restoring lasting peace across the country.
We are here on behalf of the President to commiserate, to sympathize with the victims and reassure the good people of Borno and by extension the nation that the government remains unwavering in its commitment to secure the lives and properties of the citizenry.
The Vice President also commended Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum for his sustained effort in addressing security and humanitarian challenges, assuring that the federal government would continue to deepen collaboration with the state to achieve lasting peace.
The governor of Borno has been up and doing, working around the clock to complement the efforts of the federal government, and we sincerely appreciate the efforts and investments in the security architecture by the Borno State government. But most importantly, we are united in victory as well as in challenges. We are one nation tied to a common destiny. By the grace of God, inshallah, this madness will soon be over.
Briefing the Vice President, the Chief Medical Director, University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, disclosed that 14 patients were admitted following the blast, with one patient dying shortly after arrival. 7 victims remain on admission, 1 in critical condition in intense care unit, while 7 others have been treated and discharged. Favor Kolawole reporting for Beetv News.
Sokoto State government has confirmed that there was an airstrike carried out yesterday by Nigeria military and United States government in Tanzaga local government area, without recording any civilian casualties. This is contained in a statement issued by the Director General and Media and Publicity, Government House Sokoto, Abubakar Bawa, and made available to journalists in Sokoto. According to the statement, the impact could not be immediately determined as they await assessment of the joint operations. It stated further that the circumstances of the objects found in a location near Jabo Town, Tambuwa local government area, could not also be immediately explained as the outcome of analysis by Nigeria and U.S. military authorities is being awaited. But it stressed again that there was no civilian casualties recorded in Jabo as well. The president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, HAC, Daniel Oko, has commended the federal government's efforts at improving security, noting a reduction in attacks on places of worship during the Christmas period. Oko, according to the news agency of Nigeria, made the remarks on Friday in Lagos, where CAN leaders paid a Christmas visit to the President and First Lady Oluremi Tinubu. He expressed optimism that the improvement would be sustained, stressing the importance of continued collaboration between government and religious bodies. The CAN president urged Nigeria President Bola Tinubu to sustain efforts at strengthening peace and security across the country. He said the visit was to felicitate with the first family and appreciate the administration's commitment to national development and support for the Honorable. President Bola Tinubu has praised the Federal Ministry of Finance for successfully closing $1.26 billion in financing for the execution of Phase 1, Section 2 of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, marking a significant milestone in the delivery of the infrastructure projects. Tinubu applauded the Ministries of Finance and Works and the Debt Management Office for working together on the transaction, saying the federal government will continue to explore creative financing to fund critical projects across the country. Phase 1, Section 2 covers approximately 55.7 kilometers connecting Eleko in Lekki to Odemi, key economic corridors, and significantly enhancing national trade efficiency and logistics connectivity. The successful financing follows the earlier closing of the $747 million financing for Phase 1, Section 1, and demonstrates the scalability and bankability of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway projects. The financing was fully underwritten by First Abu Dhabi Bank, with risk mitigation support provided by the Islamic Corporation for the Insurance of Investment and Export Credits, marking ICIEC first Nigeria transaction since the country's institutional and regulatory reforms. The structure reflects growing confidence in Nigeria's reform investment climate and its capacity to deliver infrastructure. The chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, says the Nigeria government will proceed with the implementation of the remaining two recently signed tax reform laws on January 1st, 2026, as scheduled, dismissing claims that the laws have been altered. Oyedele emphasized that the decision to proceed with the implementation as planned was driven by the pro-people nature of the reforms, which are designed to reduce the tax burden on ordinary Nigerians and stimulate economic growth. Oyedele stated this on Friday after meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the President Ikoyi residence in Lagos, where he led a delegation that included the chairman of the Nigeria Revenue Service, Zak Adedeji, and the chairman of the National Tax Policy Implementation Committee, Joseph Tegbe.
Laws on the 1st of January 2026, we go ahead as planned on schedule because these reforms are designed to provide relief to the Nigerian people. Bottom 98% of workers will see either no PAYE tax or lower taxes to be paid. Small businesses, 97% of them will be exempted from corporate income tax, VAT, withholding tax, and large businesses will see a drop in the taxes that they pay. The whole idea being to try and promote economic growth, inclusivity, as well as shared prosperity for our people. So we're actually excited at the progress we're making, and we're looking forward to January 1st, 2026.
The Ministry of Petroleum Resources has formally launched its Enterprise Content Management System, Go Live, signaling the transition from paper-based processes to digital platform aimed at improving efficiency, transparency, and service delivery across the oil and gas sector. The reports.
The system was unveiled to enhance efficiency, transparency, and service delivery within Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Launching the platform, the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, DD Esther Wilson Jack, described the initiative as a strategic reform for a ministry central to Nigeria's economic growth and energy security. She said the ECM system will simplify workflows, secure official record, and enable fast decision-making across departments.
That is transformative. This is one initiative that aligns Nigeria with the rest of the world. I think this will be one of the very few countries, very prominent countries in the world, that are still operating in an analog way. If oil and gas sector is successful, then every other sector, is bound, to be successful.
Comply with the federal government's directive on the full digitalization of work processes by 31st December 2025, and advances Pillar 5 of the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan 2021 to 2025, which prioritizes digitalization across ministries, departments, and agencies.
Other stakeholders stressed the role of digitalization for improving productivity and accountability in the public service.
Digital transformation does not consist of only the deployment of technology, but is largely hinged on the disposition of the people towards the success of the entire program. This means that despite all the good effort of the head of service, the honorable ministers across the ministries, the permanent secretaries, all the hardworking directors, the real work lies with every single officer who has responsibility to use the system on a daily basis. No excuse is good enough not to use the system.
With the ECMLs now operational, the ministry is expected to strengthen accountability, preserve institutional memory, and improve coordination, reinforcing its commitment to modern and efficient service delivery in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Precious Agbalaho reporting for Beetv News.
The presidential initiative on compressed natural gas and electric vehicles has partnered with China's UGT Environment Technology Limited to localize the production of key transport energy infrastructure in Nigeria. The deal was sealed with an MOU signed during a 5-day visit by a PICNG delegation led by Executive Chairman Ishmael Ahmed to YJT facilities in Chegudu and Hangzhou, China. PICNG said the partnership will boost local production and assembly of CNG and EV infrastructure to expand access to cleaner, affordable transport energy. Ahmed said the MOU covers the local manufacturing and assembly of CNG dispensers, refueling stations, and EV charging facilities, alongside the deployment of advanced digital technologies. Under the agreement, YJT's Smart Internet of Things IoT monitoring solutions will be integrated to Nigeria's CNG and EV ecosystem, complementing PICNG's natural gas vehicle monitoring system. Malaysia's former Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Najib Razak, has been sentenced to an additional 15 years in prison in order to pay RM 11.39 billion, approximately $2.8 billion, after being found guilty of abuse of power and money laundering in the high-profile One Malaysia Development Berhad scandal. The report.
Najib, 72, who is already serving a prison term from an early 1MDB-related conviction, will begin serving the new sentence after completing his current term, expected around 2028. The High Court, presided over by Justice Colin Lawrence, found Najib guilty on 4 counts of abuse of power and 21 counts of money laundering. Each abuse of power charge carries 15 years, while the money laundering charges carry 5 years each. All sentences were ordered to run concurrently, resulting in 15 additional years in total. Prosecutors said Najib exploited his roles as Prime Minister, Finance Minister, and Chairman of the 1MDB Advisory Board to divert over $700 million of state fund into personal accounts. The court rejected Najib's claims that the funds were politically donations, citing strong evidence of his direct involvement. Najib was also ordered to pay Rm 11.39 billion in fines for the abuse of power convictions and to surrender Rm 2.08 billion in assets under Malaysia's anti-money laundering laws. The court ruled that failure to pay would trigger additional prison time. Najib's defense team immediately stated they would appeal the verdict. Najib has consistently denied wrongdoings, maintaining that the funds were political contributions and that he had been misled by subordinates. The court dismissed this claim, citing extensive documentation and witness testimony implicating him directly. The 1MDB scandal, first exposed in the early 2010s, involved the misappropriation of at least $4.5 billion from Malaysia's State Investment Fund. The scandal prompted international investigation and lawsuits in the United States, Singapore, and Switzerland, and involved fugitive financial low-tech EHO. Najib was previously convicted in 2020 in a related case involving Rm 42 million from SRC International, a 1MDB unit, and began serving that sentence in August 2022. A partial royal pardon later reduced his term. This latest verdict adds a significant additional sentence and a record-breaking fine, signaling Malaysia's firm stance against high-level corruption. Evelyn is reporting for Beetv News.
And now to the business news. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has reshuffled critical directors in Nigeria's Civil Aviation Authority, following rumors of serious corrupt practices by key officers of the Aviation Regulatory Agency. The report.
The reshuffle of the senior officers may not be unconnected with allegations of inefficiency and compromised oversight in the agency's Directorate of Airworthiness Standards. This comes as the Nigerian Safety Investigation Board on December 14, 2025 and December 16, 2025 respectively issued reports indicating major aircraft incidents involving unscheduled aircraft. According to the report, a Hawker 800 XP with 8 persons on board crash-landed at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, while a Cessna 172 aircraft was crashed on approach at the Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport, Owerri. However, none of the 4 persons on board the latter aircraft was hurt. The Industrial Training Fund, in collaboration with the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, has graduated 62 trainees of batch XIV of the Technical Skill Development Project at the Industrial Skills Training Center, Ikeja, Lagos. Speaking at the graduation ceremony, the Director General and Chief Executive of ITF, Dr. Afik Ogon, described the event as another milestone towards generating a pool of indigenous human capital for the Nigerian economy. The Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria has signed a memorandum of understanding with Sitmap Technologies Limited, marking a major step toward making land and real estate transactions safer, more transparent, and more efficient nationwide. For millions of Nigerians, buying land or property has long been a journey filled with uncertainty, as stories of disrupted titles, multiple sales of the same properties, and years of litigation remain common across the country. In a statement issued on Thursday, the organization said the agreements bring together Redden's nationwide network of verified developers and Setmap's digital land and real estate infrastructure designed to simplify how properties are listed, verified, mapped, and transacted across Nigeria. Favor Kolawole reporting for Beetv News.
And now to sports. One of Africa's most storied and remarkable football rivalries makes another stop on Saturday, this time in the Moroccan city of Fez, as Nigeria and Tunisia clash in a top-of-the-table encounter at the 35th Africa Cup of Nations. The Super Eagles edged Tanzania 2-1 in their first match, with Semi Ajayi and Ademola Lookman finding the net, while Tunisia were more convincing, recording a 3-1 win over Uganda through strike from Elias Eshiri and a brace from Elias Akori. Super Eagles head coach Eric Chell discussed the effort his team has made in training ahead of the big clash, emphasizing the need for concentration against a technical Tunisia side. The Franco-Malian tactician acknowledged errors from the Tanzania match but expressed confidence in his squad readiness. Upper Super Eagles captain Wilfred Ndidi insisted Nigeria are fully prepared to ensure there is no repeat of their painful defeat to Tunisia when the Carthage Eagles eliminated them from 1-0 in the round of 16 at the 2021 AFCON in Cameroon. And that is all on our 3 p.m. news updates. Thank you for joining and stay tuned for our 6 p.m. major news. I am Ruth Obodu. Goodbye for now.